The 2020 Founding Charter and Constitution for the United States of America. The new and improved government form. The 2020 Founding Charter and Constitution for the United States of America is a simplified government civics textbook by design. This page changed with the May 30, 2025 edit. About the 2020 Founding Charter and Constitution for the United States of America. The textbook for citizen-controlled government. The 2020 Founding Charter and Constitution for the United States of America is an ownership instruction manual, as well as an educational tool. It details the lawful and contractual process for the governed people to properly control their government officers. Most importantly, it instructs the governed people about what to do when their government employees either fail or refuse to work within the Constitution's limits on their political powers. The 2020 reminds the citizens about hindsight being 2020. The governed people must learn from the past and correct the mistakes from the past in order to improve their future. This Constitution easily adapts for different government levels from cities and towns, counties, states, and nationally, even foreign countries. It identifies the governed, the citizens, as the sovereign authority over government at every level and branch. It details the power granted to each primary government branch, the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. It solves the relationship between the government and the governed. As a unified body of registered voters, the governed people exercise the sovereign power and authority over their government. A written constitution should exist for every government level. It should detail exactly what powers the governed people grant to their respective government levels. The degree of that power may vary towards less power, but not more than this Constitution authorizes. Thus, it eliminates most of the guesswork about what powers exercised by government are just and honorable, as well as which powers are corrupt and tyrannical. The powers granted to government must conform to the unanimous Declaration of the United States of America. It is included in this Constitution as a reminder of the limited powers that the governed people may of right grant to their government. When the governed people, being the keepers of their own liberty, fail to properly maintain their government, others move in to use that government against them. Those invaders promise the people false hopes. They steal from the people the fortunes of their liberty, the freedom to exercise their rights, and their duty to properly control their own government. The citizens' most important rights are the right to alter, their right to abolish, and their right to throw off their corrupted government forms. This includes removing the officers therein and undoing their unjust actions with impeachments and recalls to better protect their other rights. Many people never recognize the necessity for amending or replacing their Constitution when it surfaces. The design and plan for the 2020 Founding Charter and Constitution for the United States of America is to make it easier for citizen residents to know that necessity. It also details the path by which the governed people may contractually correct the ills of government. Correcting government ills is best when done early and often, when it costs less financially, as well as less bloodshed. Defective government leaves the governed people with few options. Modify that form of government if possible. When necessary, replace it. That, or learn to live within the corrupted government, which usually gets worse when ignored. The governed people must frequently and thoroughly inspect their government for signs of corruption. When found, they must swiftly correct it. This does not mean that each individual spends vast hours digging through mountains of papers and laws. At the very least, it requires the resident citizen to fight the enforcement of unjust laws that passed when a previous generation got off track. When the governed people fail or refuse to control their government officers, it encourages government corruption to grow. If any generation fails in this, their duty, it is their neglect that allows political corruption to ravage and destroy their nation, their states, their counties, and their cities and towns from within. The number of states whose citizens remain contractually bound by the nation's founding charter, the unanimous Declaration of the United States of America, has grown to 50 states. The citizens of all new states are equally bound to the unanimous declaration, regardless of when they join the Union. The unanimous declaration is the founding charter. It authorizes the creation of a constitution, which is the actual form of government. Every state that joins the Union, they do so as an equal with all the other states. At present, the government officers within the United States of America repeat the abuses and usurpations detailed in the Declaration. Those usurpations and abuses identify the same type of tyranny and absolute despotism over the citizens today that existed in 1776 for the nation's founders. Because the government officers abuse their political power, it demands immediate action by the citizens to right their nation and repair their failed government. For these reasons, the citizens have directly put in force the 2020 Founding Charter and Constitution for the United States of America in order to better preserve their rights. Preamble. We, the governed people, with 3/4 of the total body of registered voters in each of 3/4 of all the states, territories, and possessions within the nation, in accord with the 1790 Constitution of the United States of America, as well as the 2020 Founding Charter and Constitution for the United States of America, in order to improve unity and diversity, establish and maintain justice, ensure domestic tranquility within our nation, provide for the nation's common defense, promote the general well-being of these United States of America, and strengthen its diversity and unity. We ratify this Constitution and encourage socially responsible, self-sufficient resident citizens. Each citizen resident is responsible for their own actions, as well as to defend the rights of others who are unjustly attacked. As the body of registered voters, they are also responsible for their government's actions, reserving to themselves and to their posterity the power to recall unjust government officials, undo any unjust government act or decision. Article 1. Naming and Organization. Section 1. Naming. The sovereign, independent, and free nation's name is the United States of America, with a small u, and yes, the spelling is correct. Proved by the unanimous Declaration of the United States of America, which created the Union of States on the American continent. The national level government's name is the United States of America. Spelling is correct with a capital T, capital U, capital S, and capital A. Proved with the Articles of Confederation, Article 1, the nation's first Constitution. That name has not yet been altered. Section 2. Motto. Unified diversity. First we try, then we trust. Section 3. Sovereignty, independence, and freedom. The powers for the United States of America, the government, are limited to only those powers granted from within this Constitution, in accord with this modified phrase from the unanimous declaration. To secure the rights of the governed people, governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. Subsection 1 of Sovereignty. In these United States of America, which is the nation, the sovereign authority from which all political power originates over government is the governed people, but only when they act in accord with the terms in the unanimous Declaration of the United States of America. In a state of nature, when the individual is alone, that individual is the sole sovereign in their life. However, when that same individual enters into a community as a visitor, member, by choice or force, they equally share that sovereignty with all the other members. The individual never loses their natural sovereignty, the power to leave a community once they joined. This speaks especially when the community ceases to be the security that such unions are formed to create. Unfortunately, many governments violate such rights of the individual. Subsection 2 of Independence. Independence is being free of the unjust interference from any other country, nation, government, group, or individual. Independence in no way frees the governed people from obeying the honorable, lawful obligations in treaties that are made in accord with the unanimous declaration. A change in constitutions does not free a society from the terms of prior treaties unless they were made contrary to the authority of the unanimous declaration. Subsection 3 of Freedom. Freedom relates to the lawfully listed and unlisted rights as individuals to do as any other individuals may of right do. With respect to the powers granted to government by the resident citizens, the rights and powers exercised by individuals as well as granted to their governments must be in accord with the limited terms detailed within the unanimous Declaration of the United States of America. Section Unified Diversity. To unite consists of more than merely agreeing. To unite requires working together for the common objective. While a group's unity increases its strength, diversity among that group increases its ability to survive a wider variety of attacks. Section. First we try, then we trust. Subsection. First we try. Prospective resident citizens enter a community on a temporary trial basis. The permanent resident citizens of the local community test the new person's character as well as their knowledge as it relates to self-governance. During this time, the prospective citizen resident investigates these United States of America's people and government to make certain they want to make these United States of America their home. Lawfully entering into the nation must be in accord with the uniform rule of immigration and naturalization established within this Constitution. This prohibits admitting persons who unlawfully entered and or unlawfully stay in these United States of America. Subsection 2. Then we trust. Each temporary resident must request to become a permanent resident. The existing body of registered voters, in the majority of the total, grant permanent residency. After this, the new permanent resident may apply to become a voter in these United States of America. The existing body of registered voters test each prospective voter about their knowledge of self-governance concerning the 2020 Founding Charter and Constitution for the United States of America. If the prospective voter passes, they may register as a new voter.